Live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the BA show. Draft night, night one here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. I've got Paul Sebastiani with me in the hot seat, he called it today.
Yep, the hottest of hot seats, right? Monday, Blue Abroad show, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Where else would you rather be, sir, on draft night?
Do they not know? Monday, 7 p.m. is our night. We've only had it for 6 years.
Oh, it's okay. Do you know what's funny? This is the first night we're not really going to be too busy with regards to picks or anything.
No. I was thinking about it just before we came on. I was like, are we even we may not even see any of these kids play that we draft
Nope.
next year.
Well, the one that we picked up, we saw Hollands, but we didn't see Binns at all. And he would have very well and truly played probably in previous years, but just goes to show that the team's actually doing pretty well at the minute. So
yeah,
it's funny how we're not having a busy draft night, but we're probably in the best spot we've been in. So I think that's a sign of where we're at, which is great.
Yeah. Lo and behold, they became contenders, Paul.
Yes, they became men.
They became men. Yes, you're right. They became men and became contenders.
Still a bit to go, but it's exciting, mate. It's exciting.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. So we're going to do the show as per usual. We're going to have updates if we need them throughout the night. But essentially, from a Carlton point of view tonight, I'm pretty sure it's the last pick of the evening, which is pick 22, which will become pick 28, 29-ish.
Yeah.
But long story short, I think by the time the show's finished, we still wouldn't have picked our player.
No, because it just drags on now, and they're making a big song and dance about it when it can be done in however many minutes, but they just want to drag the broadcast out. So more advertising dollars, which is always nice.
Well, you've got to make the money somehow, you know.
That's business, my friend. That is business.
You don't hate the player, you hate the game.
Exactly. No, I don't hate it, mate. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. John, no, so we've got a pick tonight, one pick tonight, which will be the last pick, and then we've got one pick tomorrow.
Yep.
And I believe we may be looking at taking a rookie in the rookie draft.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens there. That's a good segue into what I want to bring up. As to what happened this week. And I didn't put it on the agenda, Paul, but Matt Cottrell got the elevation.
Yeah, well deserved.
I wanted to ask you, when Cottrell and Gibbons, when we first got that photo, the two of them were together, and I think they were on the Gold Coast trip potentially.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
At the time, I don't know if you ever had this conversation, but who would you have picked at the time if I said to you 5 years later, which one's going to still be here?
Oh, probably Gibbons, just given the fact that his form, or we'd actually seen what he'd been able to do on a football field against men, because he was a JJ Liston. I think he was a JJ Liston trophy winner. Yeah, for Williamstown. So his form and what the public had actually seen, his exposed form had been better than anything Matthew Cottrell had done. I mean, Matthew Cottrell was a young rookie who had been picked up by Stephen Silvani because of his scope and his running ability. And I don't think we had any real high ceiling with Matthew Cottrell. But look where we are now. It's funny how things work, eh?
Yeah, and I think what it also reminded me was, for so many years we had spoken about, like, what's the development like at the club? What's the program like? How's that going? I think Cottrell is a great story for the program, for himself, but I think for the program around him as well.
Do you remember that game he had against Sydney a few seasons ago?
Was it lockdown? Yeah, was it 2020?
And yes, it was. It was, and it was an absolute stinker of a game. And not you can't really single one player out, but he looked nowhere. And he's had a couple of coaches come in, and not just senior coaches, but line coaches, and he's grown up.
Yeah, no, yes.
Grown up.
And, you know, he's had one of the better players on the ground in the Sydney final.
Definitely. He's probably one of the best, to be honest.
Yeah, had a good final series, and all of a sudden, this is it. He's now on the senior list.
He kicked that first goal of the famous first quarter against Brisbane. when he ran into an open goal, which got everyone up and about. So
Seems.
he's another player that's part of an area on the ground where we thought we were a bit light in, and now it's become a strength and a staple of ours.
Yeah, I think so too. Where do you sit? Where do you put him in your team? Where's his best position for you?
The wing, high half forward, operating through there too. But I mean, that doesn't also absolve you of your defensive duties too. I think his two-way running and look, I mean, his power running is amazing. And that little passage of play against the Gold Coast when he set up Charlie Curnow to set up Matt Owies for that goal out on the outer wing. If you were watching the tally, he chased after a ball and his Gold Coast opponent was about 10 metres ahead of him, burnt him, and then his skills are actually he's quite neat with the ball, isn't he? Which is something that, I don't know, you look at wingers and you look at a guy like Langdon for Melbourne and he's good, but I actually think Cottrell's better ball in hand. And he's a nice tidy set shot too. So I think he's definitely around if I'm looking at him from like a squad perspective, I think he's around the 18th to 25th player, like in that bracket there, which means he's going to be a pretty solid contributor to the squad. He was this year. And he's going to be next season as well.
Yeah, I think the other part about him, he had an interrupted preseason. Do you remember the pre-Christmas? It was Cottrell's put on 3 or 4 kilos, thickened up a bit.
Was it more? Double.
Wow.
It was like 6 or 7 kilos.
Yeah,
and I was at the 2K time trial. Remember, I was telling you this. And
that's right. You texted me.
I can say it now because it's a season and a half ago. It was a bit of a hush one. I kind of just snuck my way in there, but he won the 2K time trial. And I mean, look, time trials are just it's a media blow up. It's a media myth. But to put, I mean, look, no one's a strength and conditioning expert here, but if you're putting on 6 or 7 kilos of muscle and you're coming back and running a personal best over the 2K and smashing everyone, that's a pretty decent stint. And again, like, I know he had the foot, but he's built himself up and he's got himself right and he's put muscle on and he's got his aerobic capacity right, contest to contest, and it's no shock that his output increases.
Yeah, absolutely. So get him another preseason because he gets to find a way every year to just add 2 or 3% than what he had the year before.
Well, he's still very inexperienced, don't forget. He's still a baby and in the infancy of his career. I mean, he's a little bit, how old is he now? 23, 24, something like that? Off the top of my head. You get it up. I think he's about 23 or 24, something like that. But he's nowhere near played 50 games yet. Absolutely nowhere near it. So
23.
Yeah, see, there you go. He's still made the.
Wow.
I don't think, what's funny? And I know we've been doing this for, how many years have we been doing this now? For 5 years? Something like that?
This 6 years.
This is not an excuse. I'm just saying this as a fact. And they're still young, these people. We've still got these guys for another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. So they're going to be in our lives until most of us, I mean, our age anyway, we'll have families, kids. Like, they're going to be there for a long time. And that's not to absolve them of not achieving now. But they're going to be there for a branch of time, which, we say cohesion and consistency and playing together, and you've got to have a stable list. And that's, that's probably going to come to fruition now, which is, I suppose, the staple of a good football team. And we saw it this season. There's still a lot of work to do and a lot of cohesion still to come with a lot of the players. But, I think Cottrell's just, he's one of those players where you think, oh, yeah, geez, he's good. But then he's 23 and he hasn't even played 50 games.
That's actually thrown me. I'm just looking now. So he's born on the 29th of February. So he'll start the season as a 24-year-old. And you're right. I mean, they go from their late teens to early 20s together, and a lot of them will be of similar age by the time they are in that, 24 to 28 bracket. There'll be a big chunk of them playing at the same time and with experience together, which you can't buy that.
No, you can't buy cohesion. You can't. I think when you're in the crux of it and you're not playing too well, and you've got a lot of young players who are inexperienced, when it comes to fruition like it did this year, you look back and you go, I know what it means now.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. Because we get we get lost in the, it's an excuse, they should be winning regardless. And, I think that's just I guess that's one of the sins of being a fan, I guess. Or maybe it's not a sin, but, until they actually get there and do it, there's always going to be something hanging over their head. But
yeah,
they've done it this season.
I think this year was the first time we went as a club from can they do it to will they do it? Because now I think from now on there's a collective belief amongst them that they're in control and they can do it. Not that they just can or can't do it. They will or won't do it. And that's, I think, a different mindset altogether.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think now we've realized, okay, you can do it. So this is the standard we're going to hold you to.
Yes.
And I think internally they think the same thing as well. So I think it's more the idea that, okay, this is the first time we've actually done this on the field properly and gone as far as we have. So they've never had, and us as a fan base and us as a football club for the last 10 seasons have never had field form to go into a preseason with to say, yep, we believe you. And we were discussing this at the G last week or the week before, where we said, this is the first time in years where we go into a preseason saying, not, I hope we can do it. I think we can do it. Yeah. If he improves, we'll make the 8. We can win a final. Now it's, you can do it. And now we're all behind you.
And we need a home prelim.
Every reason they should do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember we did the tour with Tony DeBol for a few weeks back.
Shout out to Beast.
He gave me, shout out to Beast. He gave me a little fact about Cottrell. So Cottrell is determined to be the first player on the 46 locker, period. So nobody who's ever worn the 46 for the Carlton Football Club has played 100 games or more. Yeah. I'm looking here. He's played 54 games. He played 17 this year.
Okay.
So he's got 30, is that right? 40 odd to go. He will be 46 to go. He will be the first player to play 100 games in the number 46.
Make it your own. And that should be the case for all of them, regardless of if they've got names on their numbers on their locker. So
do you place much gravity on certain numbers? Like, for example, the number 4. Do you think it should take some time out before we just throw it to a kid? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Like, I think that the history has to be acknowledged, right? There's no doubt about that. History has to be acknowledged. But I think the one thing that we've realized this season is you don't want to live it. You don't want to live your history. You don't want to live your past. You want to live your own legacy and make your own legacy. So I guess some individuals and some football players would say, I love this, the fact that, my number is Stephen Kernahan and my number is all these ex-Carlton greats that I have to, not I have to carry, but I have to, reach a certain standard with regards to the number that I'm wearing. And some can't deal with that pressure too. Yeah. So it depends on the individual, I think, too. But I mean, we look at number 25 and number 25 hasn't really been handed to anyone. But I think when you get, the problem is, I think when you get lost in that kind of, who are we going to give the number to? It just becomes, I don't know, just for me, like when the kid gets drafted or someone gets a number like that, just let them be. Just let them create their own legacy. You don't have to be the next Jizelenko. You don't have to be the next Stephen Kernahan. Be the next best you. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. There's a few numbers that are vacated and they're nice numbers.
Yes.
Number 2, number 4, number 20, number 25. Mm-hmm. These are aesthetically pleasing numbers. So I was looking at the list. I don't think there's many players on the list right now that would want to start again and go through the new journey. I don't like Motlop wouldn't want to. He's got a nice number as it is. Maybe Brody Kemp, but yeah, they're all have played. They've all played a real good
Brody,
chunk of games where it wouldn't be worth.
Brody Kemp has a very
Number.
interesting number, by the way.
What have you got on the Brody Kemp 17? Oh, true. Could be the Norm Smith medalist when we win our 17th.
I don't know, but it's a very important number for us. I'll give you the tip.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Nice
Okay.
about it.
Yes, true. It's not so far of
No,
a thought right now.
it's not. It really isn't.
The fixture. We got a damn fixture last week. There was we started the week with the outcry on the opening round and this and that. Then the fixture came out.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I tried. I tried to get angry. I couldn't.
Who cares? You play every team once, then you play a handful of teams again, and then you play finals. Who cares? We travel 1, 2, 3. How many times we travel? 5 times, 6 times?
6 times, yeah, including opening round.
Great. It just means supporters interstate get to see us that more often. But the fixture changes every single year. Teams' form changes every single year. Players have injuries and their form dips, and and then we'll be halfway through the year. We've got a hard fixture now, and then you'll be halfway through the year. Oh, it's an easy fixture. It's grass, it's lines, it's 4 posts at either end. Just win. I don't care who we play, mate. It doesn't bother me, mate. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to be at every game or watching every game. So it's just fickle, mate. Like you look at it, and I know in the Premier League it's different, right? Because each team plays each other twice, home and away. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But I can tell, mate, they're not sitting there looking at the fixtures saying, oh God, oh no, we've got to go to Nottingham away. Oh no, we've got to go to Brisbane away. Oh no, oh God, we don't have Richmond in the first game of the season anymore. I don't care. I'm not buying the negativity around it. I'm not buying. It's something to talk about because it's something to talk about, and that's it. Yeah. So
I thought the big win was that the season starts a week earlier for us.
Great, beautiful. I don't have to wait. It starts a day. And we play. When do we play? March the
8th. Friday I thought it was the 6th or the 8th. Yeah,
I'll tell you when it is right now. We play Friday the 8th of March at 7:40 p.m. and it's the day before my birthday. So give me a birthday present. There you go.
Down to Brisbane Vegas for your birthday? Is that the move?
Well, I'm turning dirty 30, so why not?
What happens in Brisbane Vegas stays in Brisbane Vegas, mate.
See you there. You've actually just planted the seed in my mind now.
Well, I mean, go to the Burleigh Pavilion, catch a sunset on the Saturday. And
I'm thinking a bit more than that, but anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I think it was the first bit of news where 2024 as a season really gets to us.
Yes.
Obviously, we've got the draft tonight, so we know we're going to get a new player tomorrow, and then I think the guys are back next week.
I'll tell you when they're back. I'm certain it'll be a Monday. Yeah, it'll be the 27th. Yeah, has to be the 27th, doesn't it?
Next week. So then we'll start getting the photos. We're going to see who's jacked. We're going to see who's shredded. We're going to try and make all sorts of assumptions.
I wonder. There's going to be that one player that the media team gets a hold of for the photo that is not quite part of the top 10 players at the club. But is a player that's kind of on the outer that, geez, God, look at him. He's come back pretty strong. I don't know who it's going to be. And I don't want to segue into later topics that we're going to get on. But, yeah. Look at your thoughts go. I can
you're
see
right. No, because you've got me thinking. You're 100% right. There's always that one player every year that I'll latch onto, and we're a popular club. They like to talk about us because we like to feed into it.
Of course they do.
So we are going to go into later in the show. We're going to predict. We're going to forecast into the future, and we're going to look at who our top 5 players will be in 5 years from now. So stay tuned for that. And those of you watching at home, just have a think about who that'll be in 5 years from now. But I think the things that I picked up from the fixture, it's the first. I mean, this was due to the chat while I was doing it live. This is the first time we're playing both Adelaide teams at Marvel in a year, which is great. The split for the MCG, so 5 home games, 4 away games at the MCG, and that is the one where we want to perform well. So we can. I think the deal's up end of next year. We renegotiate.
We're close to it, yeah.
So we play the finalists from the year before 10 times, but Paul, I think as you said, what does that mean? There were probably 2 or 3 teams that didn't make it this year that were probably in there for the majority of the year anyway.
I mean,
so
it changes. It's not. The finalists for last year are not going to be the finalists for this year. It always changes.
Yep. One thing I picked up on: we played the Pies on that Friday night. Greek Easter, interesting.
Yasu.
Yes, not that
Christos Anesti, is that the one?
Yeah, well, not that I go to church, but to my yaya's horror. But I'm curious to see.
Maybe it's a sign that you should go, mate, so you don't get a wooden spoon over the head.
Well, I am going to church, mate. I'm going to the MCG to watch Carlton Collingwood.
That's your church. Touche.
That's actually what I tell her. I'm like, right. I've got to go to the footy tomorrow,
Does she understand? Is she understanding of it?
She's not, but she loves me. So, you know how it is.
I get it.
Yeah, it's unconditional love.
I'm sure she prays for you.
She definitely prays for me. Someone is. Someone is. Okay, so we'll get into preseason watch list in a minute. Okay. I wanted to continue the conversation around AFL salaries. It picked up a little bit today. I think the Josh Dacos comments were actually taken out of context, and it was a situation of people talking about things that didn't happen. But a few weeks ago, I did a video with Joe, and we talked about like 10 things that could improve the league. I feel like one of mine was make the salaries public, because that way, no matter what the scrutiny is, it's always based on fact. And it's not, So my question to you is twofold. What do you believe about making player salaries public? And then number 2, do you think the AFL players are paid accordingly to what they do?
So first question, should they be made public? They almost are to a certain point anyway. So yes. I think, you know what? I actually think it would be a lot more beneficial for the players rather than the media speculation and the rumors and the newspaper articles coming out on the social media, social media doing the rounds about, oh, what's he on? Is he really on this? I actually think it'll work well for the players too. I think it'll work well for the players on a twofold effect. One, it just eradicates all that media rumor mongering and the social media posts, which I think in turn will help them. But I also think it holds them to an account where, if you're held publicly accountable, you have to perform as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if there's too much pressure on them to perform, well, then they shouldn't have been there in the first place anyway. So, that kind of stuff separates the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. So, and the second part of the question, what was the second part?
Do you think AFL players are paid enough for what they do?
Do I think AFL players are paid enough for what they do?
Taking into account all the sport you've watched in the world.
Okay, so the brutality and the physical element and how fit these players need to be, I don't think they are paid what they deserve to be paid. It is a brutal sport.
Yeah,
it is brutal. We're talking 360. You can get hit, smashed, tackled, belted from any way conceivable or any area conceivable. You've got no padding. You have to be skillful with ball in hand. You have to be able to mark. You have to be able to kick. You have to be able to handball. So, and it's not a round ball either. So it makes it even more difficult. So the skill set is quite hard, and the physical nature of it, I'm talking strength-wise, body-wise, and then aerobically, how fit you need to be. I don't think they're paid. I don't think they're remunerated fairly with regards to how brutal the game is. But what I will say is that the market will always determine how much you truly get paid. Consumers will tell you how much you're going to get paid. And ultimately, if revenue and profit is only up to a certain much and players get paid that, well, that's the market dictating that, isn't it? So trying to compare it to soccer or basketball, you're talking, I mean, in the realms of economy with regards to the AFL economy compared to NBA and Premier League and football around the world, we're a piss in the ocean compared to, and that's the disparity between pay comes because of that. Is it unlucky? I mean, maybe, but if these footballers go and try and play round ball, you're talking a talent pool of how many million? Whereas in Australia, you've got Aussie rules. What's a talent pool of Aussie rules footballers? It's not many compared to basketball or soccer or anything like that. So I think with regards to the physicality and the brutality and what players have to go through, I don't think they're paid. I don't think they're remunerated fairly enough. But the problem is the market dictates that. And the market says, this is what you're worth. This is what you get, until negotiated otherwise. The players have to negotiate it. The player agents have to negotiate that. The clubs have to negotiate that.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Good evening to you, mate. Where I landed was, I actually think the top end of the AFL, so I'm talking the top 5%, the Nick Nats, the Crippses, the marquee players, I think they pull the weight so much more for the rest of the league. And they're the ones that are actually truly missing out on what they're actually bringing from a value standpoint, the dollars they're actually bringing, like marketing wise, etc. I mean, look, it's not to say that they don't get paid well.
Yes.
But the point around the brutality of the sport, and I guess the Josh Dacos conversation and the outcry, the way I saw it, the way I saw the reaction, it just got me thinking about it. And I think those top tier players should be probably. I mean, and I think we'll get there. I think there'll be a time where, highest paid player is on $3, $4, $5 million a year. It'll take time, but I think we will get there. I think also when you've got executives making over $1 million, that's where I'm a little bit. I raise the question: how much more of an importance is an executive of the league to Nick Nat or Patrick Cripps or Dustin Martin?
Well, I mean, how do you weigh it up? Like, you can't, unless you study this forensically and say, okay, well, we know how much benefit this person brings to the game, and we know how much benefit this person brings to the game. I mean, these executives are making decisions behind closed doors that we don't know about. We only see the fixture. We only see grassroots level. We only see how many people go to the game. We only see, revenue on a balance, but we don't see the decisions and meetings and time that they put into it. We're not privy to their, 12-hour, 14-hour, 16-hour working day. I'm sure if we were, we'd say, okay, we get that. And I don't know. Look, executives cop a bad rap. It's always going to be the case. But, I mean, ultimately, it's up to them to move the game forward and make decisions to move the game forward. So, and they'll be looking at it and saying, well, it's not that they don't want to pay the players more, because if players are being paid more, it's probably likely that they're getting more revenue in and there's more money coming into the league. And that's ultimately what they need. That's what you need to sustain you. So you look, I mean, like we said, you're looking at NBA and soccer. I mean, they're bigger and better with regards to everything: entertainment, standards, their infrastructure. And that's what we need to do here as well. But the problem is, like, we're away from everything. We're an economy of, how many people are we? We're 25 million, 26 million, 30 million?
Yeah.
You're talking European football, which is, over 1 billion people. Then you're looking at an American market for NBA, which is 350 million people. You add all that together. I think, look, the AFL does well considering the weight of numbers that they have to deal with. So, this is not me being a mouthpiece for them or anything, but, it's just, how do you solve it? That's the forever question that they're going to have to answer. I don't know how. They're bringing more revenue and then the players get paid more. That's the simple way of doing it. Or do they give them more of a cut with what they've got now? So it's just art of negotiation. The art of negotiation.
Yeah. It was an interesting one. Thought I'd raise it.
Yeah. Well, look, if you want more, no one's just going to give it to you, are they?
Yeah. Well, I think because we've spent the last few years with this conversation really being dominated by the pay disparity between the AFLW,
yes,
the men and the women. And I think somewhere along the line we forgot, hang on a minute. The pull of a Dustin Martin and a Nick Nat and a Cripps and these types, like, they're the ones that are really missing out.
Terry, no one goes to AFLW. There's no money in it, mate.
Yeah.
People who say, oh, yeah, there's money. Mate, there's no money in it.
No, it's
just no money in it.
I feel like it's a different currency. So you, as a sponsor, like NAB buying social currency. It's a social credit.
Correct. Exactly. And it's for 20, 30, 40. It's a long-term investment.
Yes.
There's no, you're not going to see the fruits of your investment in the next 5 years with regards to that. You're probably going to see it in the next 15, 20 years when these girls have actually had a chance to grow up playing football rather than being nabbed from hockey, basketball, and soccer.
Yeah.
That's what makes up the majority of the pool. And even the girls who play football now, they haven't been through an elite grassroots level. They haven't been through elite development. They haven't been through understanding how to contort your body and understanding, how to play the game of football. They get it because we all watch it, but they haven't played it. And that's the problem. That's going to take a generation, mate.
Generation. Yeah.
It is. It is.
Spot on. Spot on. So, bring in the chat back to our group. By the way, Harley Reid has been selected with pick 1, shock horror.
Yep.
Colby McGurcher has been selected. We're going to be interested to see if Curtin.
That's Pommy's big one.
Up. So for those watching at home who want a draft update, the one of the picks that could determine what happens with us is if Curtin slides. If Curtin slides, the whole order
domino effect. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we'll be looking out for. We will not have Carlton's pick live on this stream.
Unless we go forever, but
no, we won't. We'll basically wrap up whenever we wrap up, and then we'll send everybody to Pommy and Oz to catch the Carlton pick.
Yes.
So looking at us, preseason's going to start next week.
Yep.
Who is on your watch list? Those of you at home as well, who's on your watch list? Who are the names you're looking out for?
I had a whole heap of names listed here. That's so many names. The first one I want to mention is Jack Carroll.
Yeah,
because I think there is a big opportunity for him there with Dow going out and leaving the team and Fisher going out and leaving the team. There is an opportunity there for him to grasp a midfield spot, and he needs to be aware of that. And now he's going to lead the charge when it comes to VFL midfielders. So I don't want to put a cap or a ceiling on him just yet. He was a very, very, very young draft pick. He could have gone, I think if he had been born, I don't know how many days it was later, he would have gone to the next draft. So he was at that cutoff. So he's still a baby. So he's one I'm keeping a keen eye on. And then the other names I've listed here. So have a listen to these. Zach Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That's the obvious one. Dave Cunningham. Jack Martin. Mitch McGovern. Caleb Marchbank. Orazio Fantasia or Fantasia. Corey Durden and Jesse Motlop. Now, the similarities with all of those blokes is that they're all very injury prone. And I'm speaking of Williams, Cunningham, Martin, McGovern, Marchbank, and Fantasia as well. Mm-hmm. So those players there, you could even throw Corey Durden in that as well. So those players there are going to be enormous, and there's going to be plenty of eyes on them coming into this preseason, because this is the first time Mitch McGovern's got a full season under his belt. So we'll see how he fares from that. It's the first time Jack Martin has gone half a season where he's barely missed a game. David Cunningham got back out on the park. Zach Williams is coming back from an ACL, and Caleb Marchbank played out however many games he did in a row towards the back end too. So I think those are the ones that the track watchers are going to be keeping a pretty keen eye on.
Yep. Okay. I like it. When I thought about this, I'm like, who are the players
that
will actually move the needle for us in the conversation of are we going to win the flag or are we not?
Yep.
So I looked at, obviously, I think Zach Williams would play a big role in that.
Mm-hmm.
Harry. I need to see, and I believe in Harry. I believe he's going to do whatever he needs to do, but I want to, and I won't be able to see it in preseason. I want to know opening round or round 1, round 2, what's he like in game with this?
Yes. He needs to pull the proverbial finger out. Is what I think we were discussing. He is my favourite player at the club.
Yeah.
And he is, well, we discussed it last week or the week before. I mean, the man's 203 centimetres, 100 kilos. He's fast. He can mark, can break away from his opponent, and he can kick goals. Throw your weight around, son. There's 2 words he needs to focus on, I think. And it's about being composed under this as well. Get angry.
Yeah.
Throw your weight around, mate.
That's
bigger
the part.
and better than everybody.
That's the next part. It's can you get mad and play with a force?
Yes.
We haven't seen him play with force before.
Controlled aggression.
And I think when I look at the list and those who had the most room to do more than based on what they're capable of, it was really straightforward. Harry Mackay, 21 games, 29 goals.
Yeah. His level is here, and he was there.
Yeah.
If that, probably a bit lower.
Yeah. So Harry was the one for me. Maz, you with me? You feel it. TDK. TDK, because he is a needle mover. If he can, I think he and Pito, by the end of the year, there was kind of like it was kind of head to head by the end of the year.
Yeah. Good.
I think Tom was maybe just ahead.
Yeah.
I think now it seems to me to be the perfect amount of time. You've got Pito on the list.
Yep.
You haven't put so much pressure on Tom in game. You've let him really develop, but I think he started showing those signs of taking games by the scruff of the neck per se. And I want to see that if it was 4 times this year, I want to see it 7 times next year. I don't think he's ready to, I don't want to be speaking in hyperbole, break the competition open, things like that, but just enough to continue to build on what he's done and take real control and ownership of the ruck division.
Did you notice how much more physical and how much more aggressive he was in the back end of the season? There was
absolutely.
I can't remember who it was. It might have been against Port Adelaide when we played them at Marvel. It was one of those games, and we sit level 1, smack bang on the wing, quite close to the fence, close enough to be able to hear and see and get involved with what's going on the field. And De Koning went up in this ruck battle. It might have been, I don't know if Lysette was playing that game. It was a Port Adelaide ruck, and he belted him. It was the double palm fist double palm into the chest, and you could hear it. You could hear it as well, and you could see. I still vividly remember. I saw that look in his eyes, where he was just like, "I'm fucking getting this fucking ball, and you're not getting in the way of me." And that's what Harry needs to adopt now. That's what he needs to adopt. So, there has to be I think Vossi said it too. There's got to be a hunger around that kind of stuff. And I saw it with him. You see it in the eyes, mate. You see it in the eyes.
You do.
Tony Montana said it, mate. The eyes, they never lie.
The eyes, Chico.
The eyes, Chico, they never lie. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. You could see, Harry's just, I feel Harry's like this at the moment. Or I want to see Harry like that. Stand up straight with your shoulders back, mate, and your chest out. You're a big boy, man. Take a little bit out of TDK's book, mate. Throw your weight around.
Yeah. There's someone else who's in that boat. Jack Silvani. So where I picked up on it was the interview he did on Dylan Friends a few weeks ago.
Fantastic.
And it was great. And there was a little moment sort of towards the end where Dill kind of got into him a little bit and kind of told him to stop having this self-depreciation talk and say, no, I'm in the best 22. And I think there's a little something in that. I think, yes, Jack wants to be Jack and not Steve's son or Serge's grandson. But at some point, it's got to be like, I'm Jack fucking Silvani. Like, who is that? I want to see him with that same aggression. And I think he's so good at being a great clubman. He'll do whatever the coaches say, play in any position. He's selfless and all of that. I hope deep down there is that underlying confidence that he is good enough to be an All-Australian. Like, that's the type of mentality I think he needs to have for him to take the next step.
I love what he brings the team.
Yeah.
I love him playing. I love him playing the high half forward role and hitting up, because I think I love the way he hits up. I mean, he is limited to a certain point, but all players are limited to a certain point. Every player has strengths and weaknesses, and you've got to amplify your strengths and mitigate your weaknesses. We know he's not the fastest, but he's probably one of the smartest at positioning his body and knowing where the ball's going to drop and understanding, his leading patterns and where he has to hit up. And he's had a few interrupted seasons as well. Let's not forget too.
No,
and he's another one. He's 25. He's 25. He's going to be there for however, and again, like, it's not to absolve them of achieving now, but he's going to be there for ages, mate. He's still going to be there for a while. Look, nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but I do appreciate what he said, where I think he was trying to be a little bit humble to say, look, I know where my spot is on the list at the moment and where I'm at, because and I think it is very true that it's a dangerous place to be in when expectation and reality don't really meet. So I think that there's a certain expectation that he wants to uphold, but also the reality is that there might be a few players potentially ahead of you. But now it's on him to say no, which is what you're trying to, I think, allude to. I'm good enough to be part of this team every single week. And he is good enough to be part of this team every single week.
So that's another one. And then Corey Durden, mate. It's Corey Durden. It's Corey Durden. I just think he's never lacked the hunger and the desire to play the right way.
No.
He may have lacked the fitness and the match endurance, but I think the defensive application, which really aligns with what Vossi wants, is there. It's about getting more consistent and getting more involved for longer, and that can be worked on with hard work and building up your base, your cardio. So Durden for me, but I think he needs to be a lot stronger than what he is already. And he is strong, but I think he's got to be bigger.
Yeah, well, he's been stiffer than a honeymoon's, with regards to his body. I mean, what he had soft tissue this year in the shoulder.
Yeah, and a knee as well.
Just what do you do? Like, just disrupts you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So he is another one that he's still got plenty of scope. Still got a lot of scope. And here's another one. You see it in his eyes. He's always trying to get under, giving the little rib punches to his opponents when they maybe just got rid of the ball. He's sort of giving them the after treatment as well. So, that'll hold him in good stead. But I mean, he's got to put, he's got to look at this preseason and say, well, his output needs to be far greater than what it is. I actually thought he was okay in that GWS game, the last game of the season. I thought he was okay. I thought he had some nice moments, but there's a lot for him to work on. His defensive forward pressure is something he needs to work on, and hitting the scoreboard a lot more than he does as well. So I can't. How can I judge what he's done this season when he hasn't even had a fair crack at it? Mm-hmm. I can't. It's impossible.
It's fair.
So he's got an eye for goal. I'll give him that. And like you said, that hunger's not going to be an issue at all.
No, not at all.
Just get the body right now.
Mm-hmm. So that leads us into a little top 5 game we're going to play.
All right.
So what we're going to do is this. I want everyone to picture it's 2028, 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
We've just won our 3rd flag in 5 years. Who will be top 5 in our BNF 5 years from now? Our 5 best players 5 years from now.
Okay. So my top 2, Adam Chera and Sam Walsh.
Okay.
Adam Chera, Sam Walsh. 3. Charlie. Jacob Wiedering. Ollie Hollands. There you go.
Wow.
In no particular order.
Yeah. Like
Am I missing someone?
No. I mean, your 5 is your 5. That is also a reminder of how young the list is.
I know.
Walsh and Chera, I feel like, are only at the start of their reign.
Yes.
Wiedering, I feel like he's going to be like a fine wine.
Yes.
Charlie's Charlie, but Charlie, right now, I think he's 26.
Yeah, 25, 26. That draft group. Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm filming a video on this. I'm not going to give my 5, but Paul, you and I think very alike.
Oh, really?
Even the way you said Hollands at the end was where I got to. But anyway, we'll when the video comes out, we'll get there. But it was fascinating.
Great minds think alike, my friend. Great minds think alike. If I had to pick a number one, if I had to pick a number one, it'd be Adam Chera.
You think he's going to be the best of the lot?
Yeah.
Why?
I love him. He's a tough bastard.
Yeah.
His toughness is undervalued. He tackles, he's hard at it, inside, outside, good user, kicks goals. He's not scared.
Yep.
He found an edge this season, and he's got sharp elbows too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And he'll put size on too. He'll thicken up.
His toughness is undervalued. It's similar to Jack Martin, where you look at them and you think, oh, okay, but then when they actually play and hit the ball, okay, I know what you're about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Silent achiever he is. Doesn't say much.
Yeah. No, those are the reasons why those are the players that I like, and the reasons why I like, because they've got the fundamentals down pat. They just do the job first.
Yep.
Charlie's an exception to the rule because Charlie does special things that,
Mundem's a freak, mate.
Yeah.
Mundem is a freak. Say less.
Yeah.
Say less.
Paul's got Paul Harvey, that is. Walsh, Charlie, Chera, Wieders, and Kemp.
Nice. Kempy, yeah. He's got a lot of scope, the young man.
He does. Walsh, Wiedering, Sard, Curnow, and Hollands.
Yep.
I love that. Just on Kemp.
Yes.
What happens in 5 years from now? Is he still playing the same role?
Yeah, I would suspect so. I think, and I don't know, this is not me knowing and looking too deeply into it, but I would suspect that I think just his defensive attributes, I'm talking like one-on-one and the physicality of his one-on-one battles needs to improve. But he's still a bit slight, isn't he? And I think what we get from him intercept-wise and going the other way is fantastic. But if he can just work on that side of the game, the one-on-one pure strength, I'm talking like when you're side by side with someone and having to navigate and maneuver the person next to you to take the ball or spoil the ball, I think is something he needs to work on too. So, I think I see him playing the same role in the next 5 years. Yeah, he's versatile too. We've seen him for very, very short stints go up forward this year. He did during the GWS game late in the season, and he was playing sort of half forward earlier in the VFL. So there are options there. I think his versatility will add to his longevity.
I like it. I think he will become a little bit like a Nick Newman type. That's the most I see him from him.
Yeah. I love, you know what I love about him? His rebounding ability. When he gets the ball, he goes. He doesn't wait. He just goes, mate. He just goes.
He's got the instinct.
Yeah.
He's got the instinct. So, that was that. I'm gonna do mine a little later in the week. Get mine out.
I was just gonna say, when's Zach gonna land?
We'll see. We'll see. See what happens. Draft update. So Curtin has not been selected.
Ooh.
So Harley Reid pick 1, Colby McKercher pick 2, Jed Walter pick 3, which was the academy pick. Zane Dersma pick 4 to North Melbourne.
Right.
I think that was Nick Watson pick 5 to Hawthorn. The doggies are on the clock right now.
Okay.
So that is something to look out for. Where Daniel Curtin goes will determine what happens with the rest. So
I just saw a tweet. He's a racing follower, but he loves his footy as well. Ralph Horowitz He said, I mean, Kane works with us, obviously, a work colleague of mine, but he said, has Kane bagged Harley Reid yet for not living up to the hype? Oh, dearie me. God. Oh, good Lord. There's a young kid as well. I don't know if you've seen this on Twitter, but up in the Gold Coast draft camp, there is a young kid who's got on the Fox Footy camera. This is going to go crazy. I can't say what he's doing, but I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter. It's hilarious. He'd be about 15 years old.
Oh, no, I'll have to.
Okay.
Oh, I have seen it. I'd like to say, the kids of today, but I know people that my age that used to do that as well when I was a kid that age. So it is what it is. It is what it is. World's going mad, mate. We're losing it one.
There's a bit going around at the moment too on the Tradies podcast about S. McClure. West Coast won't select Harley Reid, apparently.
Yeah. He has a target. Old Sammy McClure. I think anytime he gets something wrong, they come for him.
Boy, mate, they sharpen the knives and
they sharpen the knives for him,
don't they? Good Lord.
He certainly finds.
We all get it wrong from time to time, mate. I'll tell you.
Yeah. That's right. I think that's us. Unless you have anything else on your mind.
There's not. I don't know. Like it's. I think that for me, and on a personal note, I have really missed everything. Really, really missed the crux of the season, the discussions, catching up with people, seeing people at the game, meeting people for the first time, the Carlton chit chat, the jumper punch. I miss it all. I really, really miss it. This is probably the first time where I've sat down for the last maybe month and a half after a season's been done. And I think the first week or two, you're like, people go, you're only watching the game, you're only part. Like, but it does. It's a big thing for a lot of people. And I think I just sat in it for the last couple of weeks and be like, I just miss it. Everything. I just miss everything.
Yeah. We were talking about it before we went live, and I'm with you. I was talking to my housemate earlier today, and I said, fuck, man, I can't believe I missed the football. Like this time last year, you couldn't get me to sit down and film a video. You couldn't. Well, first of all, I think I was away this time last year. So I was probably in Rome or somewhere like far from content. But you could not have sat me down for an interview this time last year. I did not want to think about it. This is the first year that I think it's because we had a good year in the end and it ended well.
Yeah.
And there was a peace, there was a satisfaction to the year. But I know once a season, I mean, it's very stressful.
I know. It is, but it is, but we love it. Like it sustains a lot of people, mate. It sustains everyone in the chat. I'm just looking through the chat now and I'm just going through all the comments. I'm like, yes. That's what it's all about. And I think because of the way the season ended, it when you have like these amazing things that happen, which happen in the back half of the season, but it's unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, hurry up. There's just something that's not, there's just a little empty spot there for the time being because of, we got so close to it all. And like the story was just amazing. And the way it all built up was just amazing, but there's still that unfulfilled story of 2023 and the unfulfilled story of the Carlton Football Club with the core group that's there at the moment and the coaches there at the moment too. There are a lot of unfulfilled stories within our team and within our footy club at the moment too. So, and the unfulfilled story with the Channel 2 is a premiership and getting all the way.
Well, I think about a lot. I mean, all right, Collingwood have won the flag. So, like, is that it? Do you just find satisfaction? You win a flag and then, for that moment, you're happy? Like, what happens then? Then what?
No,
like, life goes on.
You got to sap every little bit out of you when you do win the flag to keep it going, like sustainable success, like what Geelong have put yourself in a position where you are in and around the 8 nearly every single season. And then, every now and again you make the top 4, and every now and again you go on and win a premiership, and you just know that you're going to be up there for a long period of time. You don't want to be flash in the pan. So that's not what we want. Like, look at a club like the Bulldogs, right? Made finals, then won a flag. I know they haven't won a flag since 2016, but they're always in the 8. I know they missed this season, but they're always thereabouts. I think that's what you want to get to. But obviously, you want to win a few more flags, but you want to get to a point where we're making finals, we're making top 4, we're making finals, we're making top 4 for the next 10 to 15 years. And that's what it has to be when you win a flag or not. So that's what the club's aiming to do. And hopefully it looks, from what we look at now, if you look at it logically, right, and you say, okay, well, teams around us are probably going to improve, and that changes every year. But if you're able to keep it stable and then supplement it with a few other players around the core group, the experiences that they're going to have now until the end of their careers, if you can sustain that, and there's no reason why they shouldn't. If you just look at time and the way that they performed, it's going to last us, the next 5 to 8 seasons, just given the age bracket that we've got and the form that they showed this season too. So I think we're in it up to where he is for the next 5 to 8 seasons. And then as that comes around, as your premiership window is open, how do you supplement underneath that so that when these guys who are up here eventually finish, that these guys are coming through the ranks as well? And Geelong has been the case in point for the last 15 seasons.
Yeah. Well, I'm not hoping, I'm pretty confident we're about to only just enter the next golden era. Now,
yeah, of course.
Can you call it a golden era if you don't win flags? Probably not. But when I've done a lot of the Carlton People episodes lately, I've started piecing together some memories that they all share, those especially that watched the premierships, particularly 87 and that 5-year block there. And I feel this sense of we're going to enjoy the football. We're going to enjoy 15 plus win seasons for a nice little chunk of time. Now, then there's the other part of me that wants to stay humble and just relax. But I really am confident that they've done the work to set themselves up and gone through the trials and tribulations to have a nice 3 to 5 year run. Now, whether that ends up in a premiership or 2 or 3, I don't know. But regardless, we're going to be in it up to our ears for the next little period of time.
You have to have an end goal.
Yeah.
You have to have an end goal. You have to have a North Star. You have to have something to aim at long term. Then you break that down incrementally. What does that mean in the medium term? What does that mean in the short term? What does that mean in the immediate future? What does that mean right now? So the more you break that down, as long as your aim and your North Star is an actual end goal and you know exactly what you want and you know every single person in the organization is aiming to that same goal, the sky's the limit when it comes to that kind of stuff. But when you do reach that end goal, what's after that? You don't want success syndrome where everyone's just like, oh, we've won it now, so who cares? Sustaining it after you've done it is the hardest thing. Getting there is difficult. Staying there is the next step. Prolonging that is the step after that. How you do it, there's no magic model around it. It's just, it's like it's always been. Dedication, talent, working harder than your opposition, like what Kobe Bryant did. If someone got in earlier than him one day, he'd be in earlier the next day. Someone got in, if someone had an extra shot after practice, he'd be the one to have the extra shot. It's all those little things that build up. So Bossy even said it too, where, when people were asking this season about, oh, what was the turning point? What did you do? Was it, the Curnow camp, Charlie Curnow and Ed Curnow getting everyone down to the camp? And it wasn't immediately after that the things turned around. We were terrible against it. Like, we were okay against Essendon. I know we got belted in that third quarter, and that's what cost us the game. But Vossi was adamant that it was a build-up of standards and little things implemented over an 18-month period that just went. Yep. And if you continue to do that, when other teams might just drop off that little bit, and then the ball starts to roll. So, look, I don't even think they know what the exact magic moment was. It was that second quarter against Gold Coast. Why that happened, how that happened, was probably a build-up of standards increasing over an 18-month period. And it's like, I know I keep mentioning it, it's like compound interest. you see these tiny little improvements, and we saw that, and then all of a sudden, boom, the curve just explodes. Now it's just about sustaining it and making sure that it's not volatile and it's up and down like that, and the form fluctuates. So we don't want any period where we're going 9 weeks for 8 losses. Put it that way.
Wow.
You don't want that.
I've got a nice little draft update.
Oh, yes.
Adelaide have made a live trade. They've traded pick 11 and 15 and a future second for the Giants pick 8 and 17, and they've taken Daniel Curtin. So Daniel Curtin off the board at pick 8.
Right.
So stay tuned. This will be the end of the show now. After this, guys, make sure you go in to Pommy's live chat after this. Let him know that we sent you. And we will sit with Pommy while our selection is made tonight, probably in about an hour, I would say.
Any idea of? I did watch his top 5. What's the take?
So I've done it with him for 5 years now, and I know he can sell anything, and he speaks highly of a lot of them. The ones where I looked in his eye and the way he spoke about them, that really, if we have a chance to get them, we should take them. I personally liked the way he spoke about George Stevens, the big, strong midfielder, Cooper Simpson, Ashton Moore, Lumon Luol, and then I don't know, but I kind of like what he said about Mitch Edwards, the ruckman.
Okay.
And then he kind of said, like, we've got 4 or 5 on the list already. 2 or 3 of them are just not going to make it. Cut your losses. Mitch Edwards is the one that in 5 years' time, 6 years' time, him and TDK can be what TDK and Pitto are right now. So,
okay, right.
But I don't know. I trust. I'm sure that he has picked. I'm sure that he mentioned players that we are going to pick in the preview. I just don't know which ones.
Lance Collard was another one that.
Collard was the small forward
from WA.
Yeah.
He caught my eye. Really caught my eye. A lot of talent, that kid. A lot of talent. Real eye for goal. He's magical with the ball in hand as well. So it's probably ruck, bit of midfield depth, ruck/forward, something like that. Something like that. So we'll wait and see, sir.
We'll wait and see. All right, ladies and gents, thanks for being here. Paul, thank you for being here.
Much love, my friend.
Soon.
Much love.
And, mate, go Blues. Speak soon.
Go Blues.